With the Edmonton Oilers getting hit with an offer sheet just this past week, a lot of Leafs fans are concerned that this could happen with Nick Robertson. Plus, we have an update on prospect Topi Niemla and much more coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, we got a word from our sponsor of this video, Fume. Are you trying to kick a bad habit to the curb? You need to check out Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device, and the flavored air category is quickly becoming the alternative to vaping and smoking. If vapor was compared to sticky soda, Fume cores are closer to herbal teas. Fume has lots of delicious flavors to choose from crisp mint to cinnamon hearts. They have a flavor for you. With flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that utilizes no electronics, no vapor, and no combustion. Fume has been backed by many doctors within the United States, and they continue to invest into third-party studies to ensure the safety of their products. My favorite thing about Fume is their delicious flavor cores. You can use them anywhere, at work, at home, or just on the go. Fume also is made to fidget with through its magnets, snaps, and clicks to just calm your anxiety. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you can be their next success story. For a limited time, you can use my code DIGEST to get your free topper accessory. It's the perfect accessory to your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. It's chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's reusable. Head to tryfume.com. That's tryfum.com to get this exclusive offer by using my code DIGEST to get your free topper accessory with the purchase of a journey pack. And once again, a huge thank you to Fume for sponsoring this video. And once again, a big shout out to Fume for sponsoring this video. If you want to get that exclusive offer, make sure to go down below in the pinned comments and in the description. But with that said, let's jump right into the first topic of the video today, which is Leafs prospect update. And yes, leading up to the season, we've been doing our little digging here on the Leafs prospects and who we should keep an eye on for this upcoming season. And today, we have another one in Topi Niemla. This is a guy who we've discussed a lot about here on the channel. And if we just take a look here at this article, we get a little bit of an update here on Topi Niemla. This is from Marlies head coach John Gruden, who was the coach of Topi Niemla all of last season down the AHL. This is what he had to say about the guy. He said, Topi Niemla is a player you can count on in all situations. Obviously, Niemla being a defenseman, he's a guy who has played some power play minutes. He's a guy who's been solid defensively. He's a good passer. He's an all-around blue liner is where I would classify Topi Niemla here. And he also said he's not afraid to get involved. He made some really nice blocks. For him, that's understanding what's important on the ice. Obviously, he's saying here, he blocks the shots. He does good on, the defensive side of things, but he also is very much aware of what's happening around him during a shift, where he needs to put himself in the situations on the ice to make himself succeed during play. And we also go on and say he finished last year with 31 assists for 39 points. Having 8 goals, too, as a defenseman is great to see. That was in 68 AHL games. He's only 22 years old, and he played a very big role for this Marlies team just this past season. Had a lot of different D partners as well, and just showing how much of a Swiss Army knife this guy is. You can put him in with any defenseman and he's going to succeed and just, drive that pairing to be a better defensive pairing, which is great to see that, he's having these multiple D partners and he's having success with all of them, and that's only going to make it easier when he transitions to the NHL eventually, so that, Craig Berube can shift the lines up and down. You don't have to worry about, Niemla is great with, let's just say, Jake McCabe, for instance, or Timothy Liljegren, but we want to move Lily up and switch it up, and that's not going to affect Topi because he's played with so many different D partners. And we go a little bit further here. They did say here that he did play on the power play unit for a bit, and he's been increasingly comfortable with his game on the ice as a Marlies player. He's just adjusting to playing pro hockey and is successfully, learning the game and becoming a better player for it. They also say he isn't the smallest player on the ice, but he's also not one of the biggest either. He plays with a lot of snarl, which you sometimes don't see from younger players in the league. Obviously, AHL's a lot of a mix here. You got a lot of young prospects who are just coming out from juniors, coming over from Europe, and trying to make a name for themselves so they can get up to the big club. But you also got a lot of grizzled veterans as well who aren't afraid to mix it up with you. They're not afraid to lay a hit on you. And just hearing that, Topi Niemla at 22 is not afraid of these guys. He'll go toe-to-toe with somebody. He'll, lay a hit on someone, and he's not afraid of the repercussions for it. He plays it with that extra edge, which I love to see. I love guys who play with that extra grittiness because they're just so much fun to watch when, someone's, coming up the blue line and levels you. It's really fun to see, but well, Squan here. This is what Niemla actually had to say about his own game. He said, I think the biggest thing is I'm defensive minded, so I have to focus on defense. That's, of course, the biggest thing. Obviously, as a defenseman, you want to be very solid on the blue line with your active stick, whether it's with hitting, whether it's blocking shots. As a defenseman, you need to put yourself into the right positions on the ice to make a quick pick off, a quick interception, a quick poke check, even a quick hit to knock somebody off balance to free up the puck. And this is what we've seen with Niemla. Throughout this whole season, or whole past season, we've seen him progress like every, if you put it quarterly, every, 25 or 20 games, we'll say, or a little bit more than that, he's improved and just kept going up and going up. And as a player who's so young, to see a guy who is developing at a rapid rate is honestly 100% great to see, because as we've seen with Toronto in the past, unfortunately, they have dealt with those injuries on the blue line, and they haven't really had guys there to kind of step up and when they're called upon and join the big club from the AHL and dominate from there. The last guy to do that was probably Timothy Liljegren, and we see how he's playing right now, performing great. So I think we're seeing another gem here in Topi Niemla. I think if you keep a close eye on him this season in the AHL, we're really going to see some great progression from this kid. And I think in a couple of years' time, maybe even after this season, going into next year's training camp, we could be talking about this guy graduating from the AHL and going to the NHL. I really hope, we get to see this guy at some point this season. I don't hope any injuries on the Toronto Maple Leafs. I would say that's the only way that he gets into this lineup, but it would be great to see him. He's just such a tremendous player. He's an all-around defenseman, and he can pass the puck, he can play great defense, and he's also, a pretty good skater as well, and he adds that little extra bit of physicality to his game, which a lot of Leafs fans will love when they get to see this guy jump to the next level. But I'm really excited on Topi Niemla. I think he's going to have a fantastic year in the AHL, and I can't wait to see him start off with the races here when the season starts. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on Topi down below in the comments section. But we're going to get into the second topic today, which is probably why all you guys clicked on the video, which is the Robertson situation is getting crazy. And yes, I mean, we've talked so much about Nick Robertson here over this summer. Is he being traded? No, he's staying. Oh, he's being traded again. Nobody knows what's telling to go with Nick Robertson. Brad Treliving wants to keep him. Robertson wants to get moved out. And here we are, a month removed, or a month away, or a month and a little bit more away from the season, and we still don't have him signed to a contract. He's still an RFA, and a lot of fans are worried about this. A lot of people are worried about Nick Robertson because we just seen this past week, the St. Louis Blues offer sheet Dylan Holloway on the Edmonton Oilers, and there's nothing they could do about it. They offered him, it was like 2 years, $2 million, and Edmonton couldn't match that. So, it sucks to say, but this could really be the fate we see for, Nick Robertson. Because I've just to explain offer sheet, if you're not sure what it is, if the player is an RFA and, they haven't signed a contract, another team's GM can come in and say, we'll give them, 5 years, $3 million, whatever the contract is. But then if the other team, if his team, the player is currently on, can't match that contract or doesn't want to match that contract, then they will get assets in return with picks and stuff like that. And the player value will play a factor into that, because remember when Niemla did it? I still don't want to talk about that, when the Carolina Hurricanes offer-sheeted Jesperi Niemla from the Montreal Canadiens, but that was the biggest one, probably the last one that's happened, besides this Dylan Holloway one that's happened this past week. But a lot of fans are worried about this, and worried that this is going to happen to Nick Robertson. And if we just take a look at this article, they say, obviously he's an RFA on July 1st, still hasn't signed a contract. With recent moves we've seen, this could be something that we do see a rise here in Toronto. And they go on to say here, this is an article from the editor-in-chief, a quote from the writer of that article. He says, after what happened between St. Louis and Edmonton, losing Robertson to an offer sheet is a real possibility. He also said, just not a likely one. So he doesn't expect that this will happen, but there are a lot of teams out there who could use a Nick Robertson, a young team that's building their roster, and could give him more minutes than what the Toronto Maple Leafs could give him. But do I think, the Leafs, this will be good for Leafs to lose Nick Robertson on the offer sheet? No, I don't think so at all. I think you'd rather trade him and get at least, the value you want back for him. So it is very interesting here. I do think that if we do see an offer sheet come in for Nick Robertson, it is going to be a low number. Obviously, he's dealt with injuries. There's always that aspect of it. So you don't want to come in as an opposing GM and offer this guy way too much money to then just get him for a lot of pick value to, him to be injured and just not play out in the NHL. There's always a big risk in that, especially when offer sheeting somebody. And they also go on to say here, this is in that same article, he said Robertson is a player who is 22, hasn't established himself, he has a bunch of injuries, he just doesn't have much trade value, and it seems like he would have more value to the Leafs than to any other team, which I would have to agree with this, on some degree here, because I think he does add value to this Leafs team. I think that he could be this third line winger that this Toronto Maple Leafs team needs, a goal scorer that they need in that bottom six. But when you have a guy like Easton Cowan who is just bursting onto the scene here and playing great hockey in the juniors and is being one of the most promising prospects, if not the promising prospect in your whole pool, you're going to want to give that guy the ice time over a guy like Nick Robertson. At least I would if I was the GM, if I was the head coach, because this guy, he's on fire. He's on fire in the juniors, and you would hope he would start his NHL campaign, on a great rate as well. Not obviously as a big of a point pace as he was on the London Knights, but you would expect him to have this edge and have this drive to be a great player, which you 100% of the time, you can disagree with me if you want down below in the comment section. I'm taking the guy who's hot over the guy who's injured and is fed up with the team. I would take that 100% of the time. And they also go on to say here, final thing they say is, he suggests that while a rebuilding team with cap space could theoretically make a move for Nick Robertson, the likelihood still remains slim. The Leafs also have nearly $1.3 million in cap space, so which would allow them to match any offer sheet thrown at them. Obviously, if the offer sheet is more of a Dylan Holloway situation where it is $2 million, then the Leafs the hands are tied at that point. They can't really match that contract, and they would ultimately have to let him go. But I don't see a team wanting him that much to put extra value on his contract to, just get him from the Toronto Maple Leafs. So the situation is just so crazy. It just got way crazier with this whole offer sheet thing coming up. We went through the whole summer without one happening, and now in the past week, we've had one happen. So it is a very, very real possibility that could happen. And if it does, it would be insane. My mind would be absolutely blown if we see Nick Robertson go off on an offer sheet. I think it would be an unreal thing to happen, but it's very, I would say, low chance of it happening, but it is definitely a real possibility. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that down below in the comment section. What do you think about a Nick Robertson offer sheet? Let me know down below in the comments. We're going to get into everybody's favorite topic here. which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to our boy, day one supporter here, Pat G Mafia. Shout out to you, Pat G, for always showing your love and support here on the channel. He says, Steve's has a great goal celebration. Good player to have in the system. Good show, KC and Mark. Shout out to you, Pat G, for always supporting us, coming back to our videos, commenting. We really appreciate you down there in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure down below, hit that like button. Like I said, 71% of you guys aren't subscribed as well, so make sure to hit that subscribe button to help us get to our goal of 3,000 before the end of the summer, and comment on the video. You might be featured on the next comment of the day, just like our boy Pat G was today. And if you want to check out a video myself and Mark did the other day, it'll be popping up on your screen right now. But as always, I've been your host, KC. Keep your stick on the ice.